dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
It is 6 o'clock on Friday, February 1st. Good morning. I'm Will Puckett. Hopefully I won't toss to a break when there's a VO this time, but hey, no promises in this next hour. You know who's on his A game this morning is Brandon, so let's bring him into the fold. And Brandon, y'all have had to be on your A game because Mother Nature just is throwing you all sorts of curveballs.
I think I'm on my A- game today because we're starting to get closer to the end of the week, and I tell you, it's still an active situation this morning. So let's take a look at the cameras first. Pikeville Medical Center over Pikeville, and we're looking, again, not too bad over there. No moisture there just yet, but we come back to WYMT this morning, and you do see a little bit of quiet conditions here. Whitesburg also quiet this morning, but as we zoom back out to the west, you can see a lot of blue showing up basically across the western half of the region, and even trying to show up here in Hazard, but we don't see anything falling just yet. Some pink out there and green as well, indicating the possibility for some freezing rain and winter mix, so be careful this morning. Winter weather advisory until 10 o'clock across about 2/3 of the area, so again, slick spots are possible, especially along the Mountain Parkway I-64 corridors and back down toward I-75, so take it easy out there. Temperatures, air temperatures at least, anywhere from 20 to almost 40 degrees depending on where you are, but those ground temperatures still cold from the recent freeze we've had over the last few days. On the coffee meter, between a normal day and a little extra depending on what you have for temperatures this morning. Out the door forecast, though, a little bit of everything possible, but temperatures get to 40 by later on today. That should change everything over to just plain Jane rain. I'll have the rest of the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, at least 16 deaths have been linked to this week's extreme weather. The deaths were reported across Iowa, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Indiana since the weekend. In Cotton, Minnesota, the temperatures without the wind chill was 56 degrees below zero, and Chicago broke a daily record hitting 21 below. The weekend forecast looks promising for those affected by the frigid temps. Detroit is expected to make a 60-degree jump by Monday. Well, new this morning, firefighters believe cold weather could have led to a fire last night in Harlan County. Around 9 p.m., the Cumberland Fire Department responded to a home on Central Street. Officials say the people living there were using a wood-burning stove to heat the home, and the fire spread from the stove to the house. No one was injured. Meanwhile, heavy rains in Southern California caused mud flows that shut down part of the Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu. The heavy downpours spilled rocks and mud onto the roadways. Officials say every time it has rained since the Woolsey fire, the same muddy mess occurs. Another issue they are faced with is lightning. More than 100 lightning strikes were reported as the storm moved into beach communities. Well, some schools across the mountains are closed today because of severe weather. You can find that list on WYMT.com. But another school in Bell County is closed for another reason. Too many of their students are sick right now, and nearly 20% of them were out yesterday. WYMT's Justin Case went to Pineville Independent School yesterday to learn what school officials are doing about it and how long it could last.
This is not the first time Pineville Independent School closed because of illness. Last year, strep and the flu closed the school for cleaning, and this week, almost 20% of students are sick and being kept home.
What brought it to our attention was the students that were showing up for school and then having to check out due to a low-grade temp or with an upset stomach.
The superintendent says most cases this year are not the flu or strep. Regardless, the entire school will be sanitized over the 3-day weekend.
K through 12, preschool as well, and we'll be cleaning both gymnasiums.
Students aren't the only ones battling sickness. Jesselyn Reed is a teacher here, also battling a bug. She says what's going around is putting some of her students behind.
We have had rough attendance this week, and you know, the thing is, it's hard. Every day is important in the classroom, and we work in close quarters, so it passes quickly.
Reed says she's thankful for the extended weekend, hoping it's exactly what the doctor ordered.
We need an uninterrupted day, and when there's that much sickness going on, you just can't get that.
And the advice for parents is simple. If it's bad enough, take them to get checked out.
Watch your kids and make sure that they're getting plenty of rest, and that they're, if they do have a low-grade temp, consider that, take them, get them checked out, and hopefully get them best prepared so they can be here Monday.
Taking precautions so students do not fall behind.
Now, Superintendent Russell Thompson says the school should only be closed today and is expected to reopen Monday. Well, kids serving the homeless on streets of Paintsville, but here is what many do not know. The idea started at the theater just across the street from the coffee house. The Highland Elementary Warming Warriors watched a homeless man warm his hands on a car hood just outside the theater not too long ago. Yesterday, they filled a coat rack in front of the coffee house for those in need. 89 coats, 165 pairs of gloves, 92 toboggans, hand warmers, and 50 free drinks have been given out.
Well, it really warms my heart that people in the community would help supply things for just us. We're just kids. To get all these people to actually help us really does just warm my heart.
Students say if you are in need, you can simply walk up and take a coat. If you have a few to spare, you are more than welcome to drop off extras as well. Well, it has been nearly a year since Buckhorn went weeks without water. We did numerous stories on the Perry County town struggle as water lines failed and water wasn't able to reach people. I talked to Mayor Tom Burns to see if they are worried about a repeat of last year. It has been nearly a year since scenes like these took place in Buckhorn.
I really was not that anxious, although it's been in the back of my mind.
Mayor Tom Burns had a rough go of it a year ago. The people of his town were without water for weeks.
We have that awareness based on what happened last year, so we're in a little better shape there.
Breaks in the water lines from Hazard, more than 25 miles away, caused Buckhorn to go without.
I can't imagine what it would have been like. I've met some of the guys that actually work those lines, those major breaks, and I can't imagine, 10 degrees, 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're standing in water up to your waist.
It was stressful for the town that is halfway to everything.
It's important that we do what we can to help ourselves in a better way, and that was something that came out of last year.
And that is a major point for Mayor Burns, that while last year knocked them down, they got back up.
You don't have water, you got a problem. When the water comes on, you do 10 loads of laundry, you catch up, you take a shower, you feel a lot better, you sit down in front of the TV, and you go back to sleep.
And are better for it this year. Now, some fixes they are working on are interconnects from other counties, meaning if Hazard experiences a service issue like this again, other counties can step in and help. Well, deputies with the Laurel County Sheriff's Department are asking for the public's help for information on a burglary. Deputies say this person stole cigarettes from the Lakeside Market off Flatwood Roads around 1 a.m. Thursday morning. The burglar broke in through a doorway. If you have any information at all, you can contact the Sheriff's Office at 606-864-6600 or message them on their Facebook page. You can remain anonymous. Well, it was a wild chase turned a few heads in Texas this week. A man in full camouflage and a helmet took off on a small John Deere tractor. Police say the suspect drove the tractor to a gas station and hit a phone company van. He then drove off and ended up dragging an officer who tried to stop him for several feet. The chase ended in a farm field. He was eventually handcuffed after a struggle and taken into custody. Well, first responders looking for 3 of their own. The search continues for an air ambulance that went missing Tuesday in southeast Alaska. 3 people were on board. Its pilot, nurse, and paramedic were almost to their destination about 630 miles away from Anchorage. And then nothing. Across Alaska, medical air crews hold a critical line between life and death.
They come pretty much day or night, as well as the weather permits them. But yes, they're very, very important, and we're very grateful that we have them flying in our area.
Guardian Flight says right now it is not flying to give its employees some space and time. Another air ambulance company is picking up their flights. She was basically in a comatose state, and now she's taking her first steps. This is 19-year-old Allie Gilkerson from Wayne County, West Virginia, back on her feet. The person who crashed the motorcycle Allie was riding on was charged with being under the influence. Doctors say it is a miracle she survived.
Why would they carry me on?
The progress she's made in the last 7 months is not only surprising, but extremely gratifying.
As you can imagine, Allie still has quite a few major surgeries before walking can be easier. Doctors will be reevaluating Allie's knee in 6 months to see if it is strong enough for surgery. Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Wall Street was mixed yesterday. We will have the details and more coming up in our Money Watch segment. And later in sports, Kentucky basketball has been on the rise these last few weeks, but head coach John Calipari still is not satisfied. Hear from Cal coming up.
Temperatures are starting to head in the right direction, but we're not there yet. I'll have more on how the cold and some precipitation could affect your morning drive in about 2 minutes.